matchups. The Mage versus the Warlock, one of the most high-octane matchups. And again, you know, we talked about the Shaman Warrior being these two melees just going at it. For Xaryu here, he needs to be really aggressive in the first duel. He needs to push in, go for that kind of all-in on the Warlock using both of his ice blocks. If he can find a win, it's going to be fantastic. But he's against SNUTZ, who literally hasn't dropped a single duel yet in the CDL.
Insane. The only member of the CDL to go 14-0 during the qualifiers was SNUTZ. Xaryu coming up slightly short of that with 10 wins, but still very impressive nonetheless, as Frostnova is resisted into the Cone of Cold by Xaryu. He's going full melee onto SNUTZ. Does not want to give him any distance. He knows that Death Coil is coming, so he wants to stay nice and tight up in SNUTZ's face, into the Fire Blast as well. Big damage coming out from Xaryu. SNUTZ, it looks like the Fear was fake cast. It doesn't look like the counterspell went off, but Xaryu popping the Shadow Reflector trinket, forcing the Fear to cancel by SNUTZ, and buying some time for the improved counterspell. No Death Coil is coming out just yet by SNUTZ. He has to be careful. He doesn't get the Fear off. He does not. And there's the Ice Block coming out from Xaryu into the First Aid Bandage by SNUTZ, but it doesn't matter. Xaryu breaks out almost instantaneously. However, he's almost completely out of mana as the Fear lands. Will the Forsaken out of the Fear is Xaryu. SNUTZ now low on mana as well. He's got to be careful, and there's the Evocate and the Mana Gem. Xaryu back at 60% mana, and he has SNUTZ on the ropes as he is running away. Frostnova is resisted by the Fellhunter, the high resistance on that pet, but there's the second one. Was that a Cold Snap into the Frostnova? There's the Cone of Cold as well into the improved counterspell. Xaryu is going to be able to take this duel. He ice blocks the second Fear. This one's coming down to the wire. 20% on SNUTZ, 20% on Xaryu, but there's the Cone of Cold into the Fire Blast. Xaryu, does he take this one? He's out of mana, as is SNUTZ, and there is the Harry Potter versus Voldemort finisher, but no, big damage coming out from SNUTZ at the very end, and he takes it!
Oh. SNUTZ clinching it out at the very end of that duel. He's still undefeated, and off of that, he should have a very good chance of also winning the second duel. What a matchup though. Xaryu, I feel like he played that super well from the start. This is SNUTZ after all. So much more geared than Improv, very skilled Warlock player, and he almost managed to take him down there, almost served him his first defeat in the CDL, but ultimately SNUTZ, he did a really good job of just kind of playing to survive. He didn't play for damage. You could see the entire start of that duel. He didn't focus on getting Xaryu's health down, only on getting his mana down and keeping himself alive, forcing those breakers. So perfectly played there by SNUTZ, able to barely find the victory against the Mage.
I've got to say, towards the end of that duel, I was worried about SNUTZ there, but he pops out the clutch Avada Kedavra, finishes it off, takes 1-0 off of Xaryu, and as you said, healing stat, remains undefeated in the CDL. That is his 15th straight victory on that SL lock, a spec that was deemed so powerful that it deserved the nerf, with Healthstone and Spellstone being banned in this tournament. We'll see if that helps Xaryu in the second duel. Xaryu expending so many cooldowns in that first duel, used his Cold Snap, used double Ice Block as well. We'll see if he's able to bounce back here in this best of two.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough one. I think one of the things SNUTZ did very well in that first duel as well is he actually kept the Fellhunter slightly away. And because Soul Link distributes damage between the pet and the Warlock, if the Arcane Explosion, Cone of Cold, all of that hits the pet as well, it can actually be really bad for SNUTZ. But he didn't have to worry about that because of his positioning. And now the second duel, theoretically, should be really good for SNUTZ. Though at the early stages, it looks like he is taking a fair bit of damage. Now the Death Coil comes in, and you can see Xaryu is almost out of mana already, and SNUTZ is sitting very pretty at 80% health.
Very pretty indeed, and it looks like he's squared away to get this victory in the second matchup. Xaryu eating the Death Coil this time around, not able to get the improved counterspell into the Shadow Reflector Trinket chain that he did in the first duel. Shadow Reflector Trinket having a 5-minute cooldown, and it looks like Xaryu could go down here. Here's the Immolate. Yes, it gets cast, and it looks like this is the end for Xaryu. 2-0 sweep by SNUTZ. Druid versus Mage. Very excited for this one. Soda Poppin taking 2 games off of Venruki yesterday. We'll see if Matt has the same luck today, or if Xaryu's able to bounce back from his 0-2 against SNUTZ and get some victories here.
Yeah, so let's see it. Obviously, Xaryu, he had... I was actually really impressed by how Xaryu played his first draw against SNUTZ. It's not an easy matchup at all, and he almost won it. So I'm definitely still thinking that Xaryu's going to have a good day today. He's got the gear for it. He's got the Mage Blade and everything in his new guild, of course. Is kind of... I think the little goblins were represented very well yesterday, and Xaryu has kind of a similar thing going with regard to his raids now. So we're going to see Matt gets the opener, of course, on the Druid. Doesn't manage to achieve too much damage here. Xaryu, though, he needs to be really the one pushing damage. He's got Matt down to 40%, trying to force out that Nature Swiftness early.
And he does get it right then and there. Matt going back to 80% HP after the initial burst by Xaryu, who ice blocks off his dots, goes into the immediate scorch damage. It looked like Moonfire was resisted there from Matt. And here we go, Xaryu popping the Whipperoo Tuber that crits. Big Frostbolt as well coming out onto Matt, who's almost completely out of mana. Xaryu just trying to chunk through, burn Matt down as quickly as possible. Gets the Fire Blast off as well. Matt at 30% HP, Xaryu at 26% HP. Frost Nova comes out. Kona Cold is resisted by Matt. Unfortunate there for Xaryu. War Stomp blinked away immediately by Xaryu, who reacts almost instantaneously. Pops the Evocation. He's down to 13% HP, but he blocks the nade, so he's able to hang on for a little bit longer. Frostbite proc from that Kona Cold into a big Frostbolt. Does it get cast? It does. And there's the Dragon as well, applying the Flame Buffet debuff onto Matt, who's completely out of mana. Big Kona Cold, big Fire Blast, finishes it off is Xaryu, and he takes the win.
Yeah, Xaryu actually, I think that was a bit of a 500 IQ play there. He went for the AGM at the last second, so Matt thought he could all in with the Moonfires instead of just playing it safe, going for max distance. I think if Matt had just gone max distance there, maybe committed the Innovate to the Duel so he had a bit more mana to work with at the very end, he probably would have won, but instead, he went for the Moonfire spam, thinking he could take down Xaryu, and then when Xaryu was about 10% health, he uses that AGM trinket to keep himself in the fight and ultimately win it. So really nicely played there by Xaryu, and that's going to net him the first win in, once again, one of those matchups where the mages do typically struggle against the Druid.
Xaryu now securing that win and tying himself up with Venruki in his first 4 duels. Venruki dropped 2 duels to Soda Poppin', 1 duel to Improv. They are both 1 and 3 at this stage in the CDL regular season so far. We'll see if Xaryu's able to one-up Venruki here and get a second win onto Matt, or we'll see if Matt's able to continue his dominance in the tournament so far, picking up his first win on Xaryu. And there's the opener, there's the dots, there's the bleeds, there's the damage coming out from Matt as he applies that steady, reliable damage over time. Meanwhile, Xaryu, speaking of damage, he's just chunking this Druid right now. Big Fire Blast to boot, as well as Matt just runs for daylight, trying to find whatever distance he can. So rank 1 Frostbolt into a Pyroblast.
Oh.
Huge damage coming out from Xaryu into the Kona Cold. What talents is this man running?
That was insane, a damage from Xaryu there. I mean, I was going to start talking about how the Druid is heavily advantaged in the second duel because the mage has already used his Evocation, used his Ice Blocks, but he just absolutely obliterates him. Matt doesn't have access to the NS, he used it in the first duel, and because of that, Xaryu just with a truckload of damage, what he wants to do is get out of that dead zone, get the scatter shot, get the trap, run away, reset, and play at max range. So that's going to be the win conditions for the 2 players. And this is an immediate scatter here coming in from Cawthon Luck, but he is able to get ice blocked by Xaryu as he blinks in, uses that root, and goes all in aggression on the Hunter.
I love the way Xaryu plays this game, man. He's so exciting to watch. During the qualifiers, just bouncing back in those mirror matches against all those other mages, and he's just eviscerated Cawthon Luck here. What can you say? This guy plays like a battle mage. He doesn't play like a caster mage, and it's just so exciting to watch. Just eviscerating Cawthon Luck, despite Cawthon using around 75 frost resistance there. Xaryu getting unlucky, not getting too many resists on his end, and he just decimated him.
Yeah, not only that, Xaryu he just brought him to the slaughterhouse there. He even killed the pet of Cawthon Luck. It's so BM. You gotta feel so bad for the Hunter player here, but Xaryu, he had to play it perfectly. You know, the scatter landed immediately from the Hunter, but he played it. He knew exactly how he was going to win the duel. He went for the immediate ice block, and he does have a second ice block because of the best of 2 format. It means he can afford to make that play, go for the all-in, find the quick kill, and now in the second duel, if he wants to, he can even cold snap preemptively before the duel so that he has a second ice block and goes for the rinse and repeat on that strategy.
Xaryu looking fresh as always. He has those gymnastics rings. What are those called?
I am not sure. I've never been to the gym tips.
All right.
Yeah, no idea.
Well,
they look like eyes, maybe like glasses or something that he's got attached to the top there.
they actually kind of do. That's hilarious. Whatever they are, those gymnastics rings. I've seen him use those on stream. Xaryu, very, very dedicated to fitness, bodybuilding, and strength. We'll see if he's able to use that strength with him here in the virtual world of Azeroth as this duel gets started. Once again, blinking in is Xaryu into the Kona Cold, trying to dead zone this Hunter. Gets the big thorium grenade off, but Cawthon Luck responds in kind. Is it gonna be enough for him to get the distance? No. The double Frost Nova from the Cold Snap into the Cone of Cold. Oh my god. Cawthon just gets stomped on by Xaryu.